Hey friends, it's Tracy. Do you have a small fascination with the Highland cows like a lot of us do? Well, today I'm going to share my take on a wreath for the little Highland cow. Now, I picked up the wreath attachment over at Deco Exchange, and it's just perfect for this wreath. I'm starting with an evergreen pine wreath form, and these are the supplies I'm going to use. This is a 20-inch pine green wreath form that I've had left over from Christmas, and I think this one came from Walmart, and so I'm just fluffing it out, just pulling out all of the pine so that I have it all fluffed out. And then I have these two rolls of 10-inch deco mesh. One is a burlap snowball mesh. The other one is a burlap with cream mesh. Now I'm measuring these out 20 inches on my mat and cutting that out like that. Then what I'll do is I'm going to make the cruffles, and I'm going to loosely kind of roll those together. Since those are 20 inches, I just loosely roll those out. Now I cut 4 of each one, 4 of the burlap snowball mesh and then 4 of the burlap with the cream. And so then I am just putting them in, just alternating them one and then the other as I go all the way around. So I have a total of 8 of these deco mesh in this wreath form. Both of these 10-inch mesh came from Hobby Lobby. The burlap snowball mesh is available all the time in their deco mesh section, and the burlap with the cream, I picked up several rolls of that from the fall season. All right, so then next I want to add a bit more wispiness. I wanted this wreath to be very airy. Since it's a cow wreath, I wanted it to be just kind of have a lot of like grass, included in it. And that was my thought process. So I have this garland that I had in my stash that I got from Walmart, and I just cut pieces apart of it. I love all the different textures, all the greenery, all of that thing. Just really love all of that with all of that. And so I just cut pieces of that and then just sticking it in the pine, just twisting that around so that it stays secure. And I'm just kind of going one way, going the other way, just kind of getting that wispiness that I like for my country projects. For my ribbon bundles, I have pulled out all of this ribbon right here. I do have a theme going on with some neutrals as well as a pop of color. All right, so the 2.5-inch window pane ribbon I get from Hobby Lobby, cut 4 of those, and then I also cut 4 of the quarter-fold burlap ribbon as well that came from Hobby Lobby, that burlap with the white stripe. I've had that in my stash. I think I probably got that at Craft Outlet. Either Hobby Lobby or Craft Outlet. That is where I get the majority of my ribbon, or Sam's Club. They do have some really nice patterns and very good price for the amount that you get. All right, so I like to make my ribbon bundles like this. I just use my little tiny attacher, my stapler, to create my bundles. If you're new to me, it's just a small stapler that it puts a teeny tiny little staple in it, and I get asked quite a bit, can you use a regular staple? Absolutely. It's just, this is what I have to use to make my bundles. So this ribbon right here, that floral ribbon, came from Hobby Lobby. The other ribbons, probably Craft Outlet or either Sam's Club. So I have 2 sets of ribbon bundles that I'm going to be putting into this wreath. And so what I do is I just alternate them. I have 4 of each bundle, and I'm just kind of giving a pop of color with that floral and the greens and all of that. So I just, again, alternate those as I go all the way around, and I have 8 bundles total. I will be honest with you guys, this wreath is definitely taking me out of my comfort zone. I am usually a deco mesh wreath maker or either grapevine. I do like to use the 10-inch mesh on a wire wreath form. And the pine wreath form that I'm using today is taking me out of my comfort zone because I'm not quite used to using that, but it's good to have something that that stretches our imagination and stretches us as creators. And so I like to put a lot of ribbon into my wreaths. And so I have this 1.5-inch ribbon, the white burlap stripe, Craft Outlet, probably the other one. All of these came from Craft Outlet as I'm looking at that and thinking about that. So what I did is I made some bows about 28 inches, and then I went a little bit smaller on each one. And so I have several of those that I put into this wreath form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I did 6 of these in there, and just to make this wreath very full and very, just give it that wispy country vibe that I like so much. All right, so then now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I wanted this to be very airy, a lot of greenery and that kind of thing. Now, I do think that I got a little carried away with my greenery, but it's all good. This was the first one that I did like this, so I'm just going to go with that. All right, so these greeneries came, and the little daisies came from Hobby Lobby. I just took them apart, and then I used my pick machine to put a small steel pick on the end of the edge of the greenery, and that just kind of helps hold it into the wreath. On the right hand side of me, I have my glue pot. That is my hot glue melting, and so I just dip that in there and just make sure that it is secure as I go along. I'll just continue to add a lot of this wispy grass looking thing for my cow wreath. And yeah, I know it's a little bit they are sticking out, but I go back later and actually kind of push some of those down in there. But as you're, creating the wreath, it just really depends on what kind of look you're going for. And so I'm so glad that you're here, and, so that we can hang out and make this wreath together. All right, so then for the cow, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I picked this up at Deco Exchange. I will have my affiliate link in the description box below. This is a wood wreath attachment, so I'm going to use my E6000 as well as my hot glue. Now, these right here are 1-inch cable ties. They're just little, wreath attachments that you can, or just little holders that you can attach pipe cleaners to, or wire or something like that, so that if you want to attach something to something else like your wreath. And so I'm just threading some pipe cleaners on there, and I'm just going to attach that to my wreath, just twisting it around the back of the pine wreath form so that everything is nice and secure. And I am just using a long upholstery needle to help myself thread the pipe cleaner through the pine to attach it to the back of the wreath form. It's all of these little things like this that just help us wreath makers make our life just a little bit easier. Now, this really helps when I use my deco mesh, because I can thread that needle through there and get it to the back so that I can attach the pipe cleaner through, to the back of the frame. All right, here are some of the flowers that I'm deciding to use. I got these peonies from Hobby Lobby, as well as those white flowers. Now, those hot pink flowers I decided not to use and go with the lighter flowers. I'm also going to use some of these pip berries. I love these pip berries that come from Hobby Lobby as well. And I'm going to be attaching those to my wreath. All right, so to make the larger bow at the bottom, I'm just using this 2.5-inch burlap. Now, I think this is a Michael's brand. Probably got that, when it was on sale, because I love burlap. Can never have too too much burlap ribbon. I'm using my Easy Bow Maker because this is something I like to do when I'm making bows. And so I'm just measuring it out at 6 inches, those loops, and twisting it in the middle, and then just making the other loops so that they are formed, on each side. So then just cutting that off. I think later I go back and trim those tails a little bit shorter because it was a little long. All right, so then here for the white stripe, I'm making it just a half of an inch smaller, so maybe like 5.5 inch loops. So I make 2 loops of that. Then I just continue to layer it with different ribbons, that floral ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby, and just making those a little bit smaller so that it kind of looks a little staggered. That's what I was going for. And so I'll just continue to add a little bit of pop of color with that green ribbon, as well as some 1.5 inch burlap ribbon. I make 2 or actually 4 loops of that, just to have the top part of the bow pop a bit more. And then I'm just gonna secure all of that with a pipe cleaner, attach that to the wreath, and make this very whimsical Highland Cow wreath pop, and with all the country touches that I like. And I attached 2 pipe cleaners together, just twisted it together to wrap it around, to twist it, and then attach it to my wreath. And then I will dovetail all of the tails of the ribbon, because I do feel that that just finishes it off and makes the wreath look really nice and pretty. Here I am just threading it through at the bottom, underneath the cow, and just, positioning it the way that I want. And I love the way that it turned out. I was going for very airy, I wanted a lot of like different textures and greenery and all of that stuff. And I just really love this so much. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate your support. I love all of my wreath maker friends who come to my channel to see different ideas that I have. God bless you. We will see you in the next video, and have a